Welcome in, everybody, and welcome to the Marshall Experience. Tonight, as you can see in the thumbnail, we are doing a live mock draft. Okay, we're going to try to do these all the way up until the start of the season. Okay, because some people really do draft the day before week one. Okay, adds a little bit of a challenge, but we're going to try to get to every one of these positions. If we can't, I do apologize. But we're going to do one position a night. And tonight we are going to start at position 1. So if you have the first pick in your fantasy football draft, this is something that you're going to want to pay attention to. Okay. Something I'm going to do here tonight is break this down to what you should be paying attention to, what you can ignore, and how I would draft a fantasy football team from that specific spot. Okay. Before we get started, we'll get into who we're powered by, the Sports Lounge Media. Let's go check them out at www.sportsloungemedia.com and go check out their YouTube and any other platform, really. But again, our sponsors, the Diamond Collection and the Mogul brand, fantastic partners to work with. Go check that out, the Diamond Collection, at www.tmb.com. And then if you want to purchase the concentrate over there that helps you get hydrated, use TME as in electric for the Marshall Experience at the code at checkout, and you will get 20% off. So again, tonight, guys, so what we're doing is we're going to start from the first pick, okay? And again, I'm basically going to break down what I would do and how I would do it, okay? Let me change the screen here. All right. So what we're going to do here is, a couple things, okay? A couple things. Obviously, these are the team players' names, the teams, the position, right? Okay, what you're going to see here is how you can add them into basically a queue, right? And the player will come over here in this spot. Now, this is off a sleeper. So if you're running Yahoo leagues or ESPN leagues, the visuals might be a little different, but you can do this with mostly any platform. Okay, so basically you could add them to the queue, they would come over here. Okay, now this is ADP. This is something that we have frequently talked about here on the Marshall Experience, the average draft position. And it's exactly what it sounds like, the average draft position of said player. Okay, the bye week. Okay, the bye week is a lot more important to pay attention to than you might think. Okay, what you don't want is to have too many players on the same bye weeks, because then you have an incomplete team, or you have to start players that you don't necessarily start every week if they're not your best players. Okay, you want to spread that out and even that out as much as possible. Okay, now next, this is going to be their projections. Okay, their projections are the points, and this is where it breaks down, and it's going to be different for everybody because your scoring systems are different. Okay, you have to pay attention to your scoring settings. That is definitely something that you have to check out. Okay, and you don't necessarily want to memorize, but you want to know. Okay, because this becomes a big part into what is the most valued in your league. Okay, it could be quarterbacks, it could be passing touchdowns. There could be bonuses, right? Bonuses for 40 or 50-yard completions or touchdowns. Okay, fantasy is more than just catch yards, touchdowns. Okay, it can get into depth sometimes. But your standard leagues, you're going to get a catch in PPR. You're going to get a catch, a point for a catch, right? Those are PPR leagues. Okay, from there, you're going to get points for touchdowns, and then you would get 0.10 for the yards. Okay, so we're going to get started right into this, right? These are things that you should pay attention to, though. The points and the average. That is their average per game. Okay. Okay, so us from the number one spot. Okay, us from the number one spot. In this league, right? In this league, it clearly values quarterbacks. Okay, and what we did this off of, guys, is a 2 quarterback or a super flex, which is 1 quarterback in a super flex league. Okay, so this is going to be a 16 round draft, which is standard for most rosters in a super flex. Okay, but again, they value the quarterbacks obviously because you can start 2 of them, right? So here, we go into basically where from the number 1 position in this draft, we are basically going to decide between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Okay. Now, we go back and we look at their ADP. Okay. Lamar Jackson's ADP is 2.2. So he's more on average taken at the 2nd draft position. Okay. Josh Allen is more so the number 1 guy drafted in these type of settings, right? In this type of league. So realistically, right, we look at, then we go to their projection. They have the same buy, so we're good there. Points, okay, points. They're pretty darn close. So, what are we really deciding from? I think in my personal experience, right, I would choose Lamar. And this is why. I'm huge on the rushing upside compared to Josh Allen. Josh Allen may get the rushing touchdowns, tied with, Jalen Hurts most of the season last year. But I think Lamar will get you the yardage. Okay, the yardage and the touchdowns. Lamar doesn't really run for, in the red zone goal line area. He takes off when it opens up, right? But they're big runs. Okay, I'm going to take Lamar here. I'm going to take Lamar, and then this is going to simulate. Okay, and this is a snake draft. Something also to point out. This is a snake draft to where it's going to go this way, and it's going to wrap back around like a snake and come back this way. So at the end of the 2nd, we're going to have back-to-back picks. Okay, so we're going to go here. Oh, we're going to start the draft first. Huh? Duh. Okay, we're going to start the draft. There's 3 minutes. We just want to talk about the pick before we do it. So we're going to get Josh Allen. You're going to kind of simulate it, right? I can't. Jackson went sick. But you know what I mean? So like Burrow has to rely on complete deep passes. His for this type. Okay, so we get to our pick again, right? We see obviously the top running backs are gone. Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley, Gentry, right? Also, we got arguably the best quarterback, right, in fantasy. Now, when we come down here, we see the wide receivers, right? Also, Bowers, McBride has been gone, okay? So then we really have to look at the value, okay? The value of the position. Okay, Derrick Henry, right here. Look at the projection here. 256 and 14 points per game. Okay? Or you go Christian McCaffrey route, which is it's a pretty big risk for me. Okay? So here, what I'm going to do is if we look at the wide receivers, Nico Collins, okay? Drake London. All right? Now, I'm going to do something kind of crazy here. Okay? Because I've been talking about this guy this entire offseason, and I think that Nico Collins can be that guy this year and skyrocket himself into the number 1 wide receiver territory with the target share. So Nico Collins, we're going to take here in the 2nd. Okay. And then I think I do. I like Derrick Henry's value. I think he separates himself in the points and the average, right, between everybody else. The average draft position, I think, is because of age, right? In dynasties, his value drops a little bit, but his age is a concern, right? But not for Derrick Henry, man, because Father Time has skipped Derrick Henry. I can promise you that. So we'll go back there, and Christian McCaffrey, AJ. Here comes the running backs. McConkey and London. Nix. Nix in the third is good value. Good value, guys. I think that Sean Payton is going to do wonders for Bo Nix. All right. So it's back to our 2 back-to-back picks. Okay. So, again, looking at the value. Okay. Looking at the value. Average draft position. That's the first thing you want to look at. Then you want to go over here and make sure that you don't have the same buy. Okay. And again, you're going to have 1 or 2 players that might have it. It doesn't have to be perfect across the board, right? But you come into here, we can do our roster over here. You can see it to where in the parentheses is what their bye week is, okay? So we already got 2 7s. So from here on out, we need to know that we need to probably avoid number 7 because our 2 best players arguably might be out week 7. Okay? So we'll keep that up. We're looking at the position here. We're looking at the positions. Justin Herbert, I'm going to go ahead and scratch off. We don't need a second quarterback just yet. Okay? Now, do we want to go double running back or double wide receiver? And that's where you basically need to separate your strategy, right? Okay, do I want to be strong in the wide receiver department or the running back department? Okay, but you basically need to see to answer that is what is available around here. Okay, you got 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, and Higgins, Rice, Hill, McLaurin. McLaurin is on a holdout right now. T. Higgins just signed his contract. Rashee Rice might be suspended, and Tyreek Hill is competing with Jalen Waddle. Okay, Higgins is also competing with the best wide receiver in the league. Okay, but we go down here. I don't know why it's clicking on it. Sorry. We go down here and we kind of see what is available, right? Okay, I kind of do like the Mike Evans. However, if we go up here to George Kittle, right? I've talked about George Kittle a couple of times, and I really do believe that George Kittle, especially in the 4th round here, 5th round, could be an absolute steal considering he could be tight end 1. I mean, you got a Hewitt that doesn't know when the timetable is. You got Juwan Jennings who's seeking trade. You know what I mean? Like or contract negotiations. It's just a messy situation. It gives Brock Purdy a security blanket, guys. So we're going to take George Kittle there. Okay. Next, we're gonna probably get a wide receiver here, guys. I like a lot of the wide receivers. Okay, but at this point, you want to basically think about that target share ability. Okay, Higgins is, again, splitting with Chase. Rashee Rice might miss some games, and it still has Xavier Worthy. Tyreek Hill has Waddle, and then McLaurin, well, McLaurin really doesn't have anybody. Now, that's if he stays on Washington, which I really do think happens. I just think this is a part of the plan that these guys have to do to make the franchise realize how valuable they are, right? So we're going to double up, and we're going to go Terry McLaurin. Now, we can look at other options, and we had Mike Evans, Kenneth Walker, Chuba Hubbard, Tet McMillan. I'm not going those. I think we can actually get maybe Tet in the next round, possibly, but it's going to be a tough one. Okay, so we got Terry, right? We're going down. Got Hill Higgins, a quarterback run. There's some wide receivers, running backs. Ooh, nice little running back run. Purdy, Porta, Adams, Travis Hunter in the 6th is, man. Territory McMillan almost made it to us. We almost kind of called that. But that's okay. That's okay. I think Travis Hunter before Devontae Smith is interesting. But I do like Travis's upside. I mean, they said that he's probably going to play 80% of the offense, guys. 80% of the offense, which in those IDP leagues, he still brings great value. But in those redraft and the just offensive leagues, I mean, he is competing with Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, so we're going to look at our pick here. Again, do we want to double up on quarterback? And that may be a possibility here, guys. Okay, but let's look at the other board real quick. Wide receivers, running backs, okay? Now, I'm going to do something interesting. Okay, this is where I kind of pick my strategy, right? I'm going to go a heavy wide receiver. I'm going to wait on that second running back in my depth chart, right? So what we're going to do here is right here, guys, right here. I think this guy has a massive year. I think he has a massive year in DK Metcalf with Aaron Rodgers. That's not even who we're taking, guys. I'm going to take DJ Moore here. Okay, I think that Ben Johnson was the best thing that's going to happen to DJ Moore. They've used him at running back. They've used him in screenplays in camp. The guy is going to be the ultimate gadget, guys. And he's going to make Caleb Williams' transition even better. Okay, so this year, I think that DJ Moore has very high potential to be a top 20 wide receiver. So I'm going to take him here in the 6th. That's going to be great value. So since we have back-to-back picks here, let's involve either a quarterback or a running back. Okay, so the running back here at RJ Harvey, I would avoid. And I've said that several times. And now look, he is the 5th string running back according to the first unofficial depth chart releases. Okay. So we're going to go down here. And there's a guy that I've heavily talked about. And that man is James Conner. Okay. Look at the difference in points to everybody. I mean, he's up there almost in the 200 range with some of these wide receivers we were getting 2 rounds ago, guys. Okay. James Conner is going to see a workload this year, and especially on the ground. Okay, so I'm going to take James Conner here. Okay. See, Harvey in the 7th is way too high for me. He will absolutely see field sometime this year, but for it to be right away and be impactful is hard for me to see. Okay, a couple quarterbacks. We got a wide receiver run here, big wide receiver run, couple running backs. All right, so now this is where we want to look at our roster, guys. Okay. We basically have almost our starting roster filled out. We need a flex and then the super flex, which can be our second quarterback. Okay, we see a couple Fields in the 7th, phenomenal value. That's who I was kind of hoping for. Dak Prescott in the 7th is good value as well. But we're going to have to see here, guys, what we got. And I'm going to be real honest with you. Excuse me, sorry. There's 2 quarterbacks here that really honestly piqued my mind. Okay, J.J. McCarthy also has Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, and a decent offensive line. Okay. Then you got Trevor Lawrence, who is now got Liam Cohen, who did wonders, turned Baker Mayfield into a wonder kid. Okay, can he do the same with Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence also has the new shiny toy in Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr., who he's already got a repertoire with. Okay, so which one of these 2 do we pick? And I'm going to be honest. We look again. You go to the ADP. You look at the buy, right? We don't have any 7s. Okay, what else should we avoid? We have pretty much everything else pretty spaced out. 5, 6, 8, 14, 12. Okay, so if we do 8, we lose him and Connor the next week. Okay, so these are things that you guys want to look at because you don't want to screw yourself or put yourself in a bad position. Okay, now I would take the whim in a redraft. Okay, I would take Trevor Lawrence. In a dynasty, J.J. McCarthy is the answer here. However, I'm going to take the stab into I trust J.J. McCarthy here. Okay? I do. I trust J.J. McCarthy, and I trust Kevin O'Connell. I'm probably the most non-Vikings fan that is the biggest Kevin O'Connell fan you will ever meet in your life. Okay? Now, we get to our back-to-back picks. Now we go back to all here. And we're going to kind of see our starting lineup. So now we need to see we have our second quarterback, right? We can definitely hold off on our third. But we need to figure out best, and this is a flex position, so this is basically best player available. Okay? Best player available. Now, options are Kelce Odunze, Chris Olave, Addison, okay, Aaron Jones, Jerry Jeudy. Okay, those are some names that kind of jump off the page. I mean, Kelce, I would hold off on because I don't know what this year looks like after a bad start last year. Okay, Odunze is too crowded. DeAndre Swift, too crowded. Chris Olave, bad quarterback situation. Jordan Addison missing games early, but good offensive environment. Okay, and we just drafted J.J. McCarthy. So this could be a stack for us. Okay, this could be a stack for us. And stacks are also very important to where you are going to get points if J.J. McCarthy goes and throws a touchdown to J.J. Addison, or J.J. Addison, Jordan Addison, right? Then I would get 12 points for that touchdown instead of just 6, right? Because it's to that same player. Okay. Tyler Warren is interesting, but Aaron Jones also would be a stack. Okay, but I like our running backs right now. I honestly think that this stack at Jordan Addison could be a nasty flex play. Okay, so we'll watch it. 2 Chicago players: Warren, Kelce, Aaron Jones, Ridley, Jeudy, Waddle, Ward. Wow, some good picks here. Running back run there. Some wide receivers going off the board. I think we got our guy. We got our guy here, Colston Loveland. Guys, we don't have a backup tight end, right? Backup tight end. And that's something that we definitely need to take care of. Could also potentially be a flex play, okay? Now, I also didn't think that he would be here. Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram in Denver is only competing with really Cortland Sutton. Let's be honest about it. Bo Nix is going to have a field day, and Evan Ingram has only impressed in camp, guys. Okay, so we already got our quarterback. There's a bunch of quarterbacks here. We're going to take our backup tight end and, like I said, potential flex play. Okay? Then we got back-to-back picks, right? We're good on tight end. Let's take another wide receiver here. We only got 4. Our 4 is Nico Collins, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, and Jordan Addison. Okay? So, now we're going to go into, basically, again, we're going to start thinking about target share. If there is a wide receiver that I see on here that is even remotely close to more than a 50% target share, right now, this is a bench player that you are taking. Okay, that is massive. And look at this right here. Khalil Shakir, who is not only the best with the target share in Buffalo, but is the #1 wide receiver as of currently. Just saying, Josh Allen's got to throw the ball somewhere. So we're going to take Khalil Shakir. Tight end run. Little wide receiver run there. And Mbuka, I like that. Golden. So you're going to start seeing some of the rookies go off in about the 11th, 12th round. Higgins, rookie. Diggs. See, again, #1 wide receiver in the 12th. We almost got 2 of them. Okay, we almost got 2 of them, guys. See, look at all these quarterbacks that you're going to get grab here in the 11th, 12th round, guys. Lawrence. Okay, Lawrence, whose average draft position is 76. Penix would be a good one. I think Bryce Young has an improved year with Ted McMillan. Tua has Hill and Waddle. Stafford has Nakua and Adams. I mean, come on. Gino has Bowers and Myers and Ashton Genty. I mean, there's some really good quarterback play here, guys. Okay? But what we're going to do is we're just trying to basically find the bang for our buck. I'm avoiding bad offensive environments. But what I am looking for is I'm looking for guys that could, again, play wide receiver 2s and get the boomer bust weeks. Okay, I kind of like these 2 guys right here. There's 3 guys right here. Okay, Luther Burden's a little more crowded than Mooney and Harris. I do like Mooney and I do like Harris. Harris being, less likely now that Keenan Allen has recently signed with the Chargers. But Darnell Mooney would be interesting because, again, to London, prior last year, it was Mooney that led the Falcons in receiving yards until like week 12, guys. Okay, so again, that was the Michael Penix thing, and he loves Drake London. But I think this offense can really open up this year, especially with Bijan receiving more of the workload. So we're going to go Darnell Mooney. Okay. I had to look this up. We're going to go Darnell Mooney. Okay. Now we got back-to-back picks. So again, we're going to keep going down. Keep going down. Again, I'm looking at this ADP, but I'm also trying to think in my head who has the more potential, who has, again, the ability to have the ball in their hands the most amount of times, who is going to be on the field. That is what we were looking for, guys. Guys, we haven't taken a running back in a while. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this up. Competing with Marion Hampton, can back up. Great handcuff. Great handcuff. Ramondre Stevenson, never trusted him. Never trust him. Tyjae Spears, good handcuff, but not something I'm looking for, right? Now, this could be a potential starter. J.K. Dobbins could be a potential starter in Denver. Or we have Rachaad White, who's the backup to Tampa, but we saw how that was last year. But, guys, I think Liam Cohen leaving the Bucs and going to the Jags, I think you could see it just being Bucky Irvin's show. So I think here we're going to go J.K. Dobbins to finish out the 13th round. Okay, guys, we got to get a defense and a kicker. So that's what we're going to focus on next. And then get our best base player available. Okay, a couple rookies going off here, some running backs. See, we almost got Rachaad White again. That would have been a bad pick up here, guys. That would have been a bad pick. Okay, we're going to get our defense. And honestly, guys, be a little biased. I would take the Philadelphia Eagles here. Denver is another good one. The Steelers are a good one. Washington is ranked way too high. Way too high. Baltimore is ahead of them. The Vikings, I think, are ahead of them. The Texans, the 49ers. I would not blow your load on the Washington Commanders defense. And I'd take that with a grain of salt. But actually here, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles bias aside, right? Then we're going to go to the kickers. And the best kicker in the game right now, can't be biased with this one, Brandon Aubrey for Dallas, right? Potential high-scoring offense, got a leg underneath him, and he's accurate, guys. He was the best kicker last year as well. And so this is who I would take here. Now, you're going to see a run. The last two rounds are basically when the defenses are going to hit. So we got first pick, first dibs. That last round, you're going to see a run of kickers. Okay, we got first dibs. Okay, then we're the last pick of the draft. So what we got to do is pay attention to how this round was all defense. This round was all kickers. So what we're going to get is a valued pick in the 14th round at best player available. Okay, I could take my third quarterback, guys. We only have two quarterbacks in a super flex. Okay, let's look at our bye weeks, guys. Couple 12s on the bench, right? But look at the bye weeks, how they're separated. 2 7s, 8, 6, 12, 14, 5, 6, 6, because they're the same team, right? Brandon Aubrey, 10, 9 for the Eagles, 12 for Ingram and Dobbins, 5 for Mooney, and 7 for Khalil. So we have players to step in and to push the needle forward, right? So again, my focus here in the very last round would be a third quarterback. Okay, a third quarterback. I like options like Bryce Young, Matthew Stafford here, Geno Smith, maybe even an Aaron Rodgers dart throw. But here, I'm trusting a man. I'm trusting a top 7, in my opinion, top 7 quarterback in the league. He's got Puka Nacua. He's got Devontae Adams. Give me Matthew Stafford. Okay, give me Matthew Stafford. Okay, so again, let's just go over our roster real quick. Okay, Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, James Conner. I think that's very solid. Okay, very, very solid. Nico Collins, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, and Jordan Addison. Again, very solid wide receiver room. George Kittle can honestly be the best tight end in the game with the target share numbers he's going to receive. Okay, best kicker in the game, maybe the best defense in the game. We got a couple 12s down here, Ingram and Dobbins on Denver. But again, these are potential starters, and Evan Ingram is a potential monster in the target share department. Okay, a wide receiver 1 in Khalil Shakir, and a wide receiver 2 with potential upside in the target share at Darnell Mooney. Okay, and then we got our third quarterback at Matthew Stafford. Okay, guys, that was fun. That was fun. I appreciate everybody. Tuning in tonight. Hopefully everybody learned something. We have our draft coming up, and this was on this platform. So hopefully this taught a few things and gave some insight onto what you guys are going to be looking at come our draft day. But again, guys, we are going to start from the second spot next Tuesday. Okay, and then the third spot on next Thursday. Again, we're going to do this until the start of the season. And then we're going to get into the real goodies. We're going to get into the actual scripted show, the show that's going to be set up the same way every week. Tuesdays, we are going to recap, and Thursdays, we are going to preview the following week. So, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. It has been a blast, but that is it for us here at the Marshall Experience. Thank you to Sports Lounge Media. Thank you to the Mogul Brand and the Diamond Collection. Go check them out at www.sportsloungemedia.com and tmb.com. Okay, guys, have a good night and enjoy some football. Go Birds.